Hi students, in this video we will be going over populations and samples. Our essential question for today is, how are populations and samples used in statistical research? Now we're going to be spending a lot of time over the next probably month or so creating a statistical research project. And in this project you're going to have to determine something you want to poll people on, a survey you want to complete, and you're going to determine your populations, your samples, and gather a lot of statistics on that to make a conclusion. So first, the population is an entire group of items or individuals that are being studied. So as an example, you could talk about pennies. And if we were going to talk about the population of pennies, that means all pennies that exist in the whole world, okay, or are currently in circulation. That would be a population. It's very large. Whereas we've got a sample, which is a part of a population that is being studied. It is a tiny piece of that. So the population was huge. It was all pennies in existence. But now a sample, we're taking only certain types of pennies. And in this case, we're going to take one penny from each 7th grade student. Maybe that's at a school. So before, population was large and sample is much smaller. Now, as you're going through this, you guys do have a foldable that you can put this information in. You don't need to write down every word. It's pretty much a fill in the blank. So make sure that you are doing that as you go along. Now, there are two types of samples. There's what's called an unbiased and a biased sample. Now, an unbiased sample states that it represents the entire population. There is not one thing that's being favored over another part. Whereas biased is favoring something. It's saying, oh, I'm favoring this individual or this group of people. And so we always want our surveys to be unbiased, okay? We want to be able to represent the entire population with our small sample of people. So if you think about that, you're doing a survey. You're not going to survey all students, let's say, at Cedar Middle School, but you want to survey a small portion of them, a sample. But you want to make sure that it's accurate and it only isn't certain students that would vote or give answers in a certain way. So let's look at an example. Let's say that we were conducting a survey at Cedar Middle School, and let's say that the survey was on what is your favorite elective that is offered at Cedar. And some of these are going to be biased samplings, and some of them are going to be unbiased. So let's look at these and see if we can figure out what these are. So if we survey all students at Cedar Middle School, that means that there is no one student being favored over the other. Every single student is answering a question. So that means that it is unbiased, okay? Now, if we're surveying all students only in band, that is going to be biased. And the reason it's going to be biased is, well, think about that. If you're doing a survey on the favorite elective and a student chooses to be in band, what are they going to say their favorite elective is? They're going to say it's band. But that might not represent the entire population. To another student, their favorite elective could be AVID, or it could be being a TA, or it could be art, or STEM, or robotics. But you only surveyed students in band, so you got more band answers than you did anything else. All right, so surveying all teachers at Cedar Middle School. So that would not be, that would be what's called unbiased as well, because teachers might have their own favorite electives, and the good thing is that this student asked every single teacher what their favorite elective was. Okay, and then surveying only the math teachers, and this is again where the bias comes in, okay, because you can't just survey one part of the population or one part of the sample. You need to survey a broader part. You could do 3 teachers from math and 3 teachers from language arts and 3 teachers from science, and that would be okay because it's balanced. But if you only choose one group of people, that makes it biased. All right. Now there are 5 different types of sampling that we're going to talk about, and you're going to get to choose the type of sampling that you want to use when you conduct your project in your survey. And these are the 5 different types that we're going to go through right now. So a simple random sample is one where you are just simply surveying random people, okay? Every group has an equal chance of getting surveyed. Now, one thing that I see that happens a lot when students start doing their surveys is that they're like, oh, well, I'm just going to ask all the students in my math class. Well, if you're all in the same, let's say, math class or the same honors math class, especially, that's not giving you a true random sample. You're surveying a lot of people that might be just like you. So a simple random sample would be maybe you just go out to the quad or maybe during passing period and you just ask random people your survey question. Okay? But you can't do it all inside your class because then that would be biased. But simple random sample just means you're surveying people randomly. Now, a stratified sample basically says you're dividing the groups up into different categories. So as you can see here, they categorize them based upon race. They've got the total population up here, which includes all students, and they broke it down to Caucasians, African Americans, and Hispanic American. And what that means is then from there, they might survey a few people here, a few people here, and a few people over here. Um, and then that gives them a somewhat random sample still, but it also makes sure that they're getting enough people of each race. And you could do this based upon grade level, age, income. This is a very popular one my students will do sometimes because they want to do, maybe they want to do only 7th grade students. And they want to break it down from boys and girls. So this is the type of sampling you could use. Now, it's important to note when you choose the type of sampling you're going to use for your project, it doesn't have to be just one. You might use multiple types of sampling, and that is absolutely okay because there's a lot of different sampling choices to choose from. Now, cluster sampling is one I'm not going to spend too much time on just because the logistics for you guys might be more difficult. In the previous one, you can see it was broken down into groups based upon specific things such as race or grade level or age or income. On this, a cluster sample means like, okay, I have 500 people and I took 20 people here, 20 people there, and 20 people over here, and that made my 3 clusters. And now from those group of people, I'm going to take 5, 5, and 5, and I've got 15 people to survey. So for you guys, it may not be as feasible because you probably can't stand there and start dividing students up into groups at break, but that is how the cluster sample would work. Now, systematic sample is also a very popular one that a lot of students choose to do. And this is where you choose, let's say that your sample is going to be, you're standing outside the door to the lunchroom or to the NPR, and you're going to ask your survey question to every 5th person that leaves. And so for every 5 people, you are asking them your question. That gives you a very random sample because you may not know those people and you may not know what their interests are. So that makes it much more random than if you, again, chose a lot of your friends or the same people. And convenience sample is one that pretty much everyone ends up doing. And this is selecting individuals to survey based upon convenience of the researcher. So for you guys, where is it convenient for you to do your research? It's going to be convenient to do it at Cedar Middle School. And it's going to be less convenient to say, ask your question to people outside of Walmart. So most likely all of you guys are going to have 2 types of sampling, convenience being one, and then choosing another one as well. Now here are some errors that can occur in sampling. And some of them just naturally occur. Let's just say that you were doing the systematic sample, but when you did every 5th person, there was just that fluke that every 5th person for 20 times was in band, and they're all saying their favorite elective is band, then that might be a sampling error. It's not your fault. It just naturally happened that way. Coverage error is one of the bigger ones that I see as an issue, and that's because students don't go out and get a variety of different people surveyed. They only go to the students in maybe their classes, and that's not accurate, especially if you're in honors classes because you're talking about a lot of students that are very similar to you. And that kind of leads into underrepresentation. Again, making sure that you're not just choosing only certain people, but you're getting a wide range of people into your sampling process. And then sometimes you'll get a non-response where people don't want to participate or they cannot participate. And that is also a possible error. And then here's some errors in just observation. Maybe you weren't asking the question right and they didn't understand your question, so they answered incorrectly. And that would lead to that respondent error. Maybe Again, mostly this one has to do with just you as the person relaying the question. Are you relaying that information clearly? When you start collecting the data, does it make sense? Or did you make any mathematical error? All right, students, now you have some problems for you to try on that foldable that you were given. Unlike what we normally do where you insert your answers into Edpuzzle, I just want you to complete this before you come into class tomorrow, and then we're going to review it in class. Sometimes some of these definitions or the wording of these can be very confusing, so I want to make sure that we can have a conversation about that when you guys come in. So make sure that you have this filled in. That way we can review it when you come into class tomorrow. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Thank you.